Yeah, wow, that's definitely something, as we're about 10-15 seconds away from live racing here on Randomania. Thank you for taking time out of your day to take a look here, and I believe the competition has begun. And I'm a little bit off sync here. I'll take care of that in a second. Yeah, heal 2 is nice as well. I mean, that'll heal significant damage, especially early game. Well, Trin, how about Grimps? Yeah, too true. But looks like neither took that, and we start off with 125 gold.
Game Boy.
There it is. That's my fault. I'm sorry about that. So everyone say hi to Trenton again. I apologize for that.
Hi, everyone. Don't worry, you only missed the most insightful commentary of all times, and it will never be duplicated on that level again, so nothing big.
Well, we found out who had Death Touch. It looked like that was Garland, because dealt 3 damage and he was instantly slain, right?
Well, that'll do it. But, Nuke takes care of him pretty easily. We got Adamant in the Crown. Very interesting lineup to start with. Things we can take advantage of walking. But
yeah.
You're usually going to hope for Canoe to really open up the exploration.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're starting with the free bridge, so you can cross the bridge and say hi to the pirates, or you can go the other way and take care of the Adamant in the Crown. Oh, but you're starting with nukes, so I'm kind of thinking the Adamant and the Crown combination, because that might lead to 2 additional key items here.
Also pushes you in the direction of Elfland faster, and the level 3 and 4 magic instead of just the level 2 magic, so it's a lot to consider. You've also got the 2 treasure chests in Dwarf Castle. Not Castle, Cave. Thinking FF4, I've been playing too much of it.
Well, it is a good randomizer, no doubt, but let's see, what are we doing here? Looks like Leggy Starscream.
Yeah, going west.
Okay, yeah, going I think Sylverfyre. Nope, going west as well. So we're gonna see what's in the dwarf cave here. We got a flame sword. Okay, that's cool. Good
weapon. It will carry you early on quite reasonably. It's definitely a step up from the Coral Sword. The other thing I wanted to mention is the runners being experienced with this are definitely taking advantage of free tiles. There are certain tiles on the overworld that do not have encounters and do not advance you towards the next encounter. So, especially around that dock, they were both walking carefully to take advantage of that. Canal opens up some more exploration, but we'd have to have the ship to take advantage.
Yeah, so right now that's only going to grant the bonus 5% experience that is part of this seed. And
we're
really,
seeing the open progression flags on display here as they're able to come this direction. Anybody really familiar with the vanilla game would know you can't come this way without the ship. We got a chance to see what Astos has. He has the ship, so very interesting. We got a lot of exploration available to us now.
Sorry about that, I was just getting the clock going here.
Some little details. Show the restreamers love, folks. They don't get enough.
All right, so you mentioned the ship, so that's all good. Now I believe that goes to Corneria by default, correct?
I actually think it would go to the dock by the dwarfs. It goes to one of the inner sea docks. That is a requirement, and it theoretically goes to the nearest one. Let's find out what the level 3 magic is. Fire 2. Good for dealing with undead early on.
Alright, and for the white magic, oh, okay, Inv 2, I'll take that. Yep. They're gonna take that in the next 3 seconds. So right now, we're pretty much, seems like we're doing a mirror match right here. I think, yep, everybody's got the same stuff, so... Cure 4 for white magic. Oh, and the exit spell, which is 100 times better.
No, that's I'd take Cure 4 over exit, but both useful. And apparently the asps are gonna rub you out, so be careful about them. They're mobsters today.
Yeah, that's fair. Cure 4 is very good. Warp is also at level 4, but that I believe that was more expensive.
And the ruby for sale. This seat got some interesting choices for a red mage. For a white and black mage, they're pretty straightforward so far. Okay, well apparently the ship came to Elfland. I did not anticipate that one. I gotta review my logic on that. And I think Sylverfyre is thinking the same thing right now. But that's going to let Leggy get over to Provoca first in the first chance to see what the pirates have to offer.
Yeah, I like this strategy because, I mean, again, that's probably another key item, and it'll be worth a decent amount of points and money, too. So, well, it looks like Sylverfyre is doing the exact same thing, except in a slightly different way.
Yeah, it has to do it by foot. Us would really like the idea of saving before fighting the pirates just to be safe. Sylverfyre, not that far back on the overworld though, so it's not unreasonable.
Yeah, and we have safe pirates here, so they're just going to do nothing but attack. Yeah, they're doing half-decent damage, but, well, Nuke is... doesn't matter. I think we need, like, 10,000% in order for a pirate to absorb that, so... And an Oxdl is awarded.
The pirates have very, very low HP vanilla. I believe the number is 9. So even if you're at 500% HP, it's still not very high. So basically any AoE spell is going to do its damage there.
Oh, Lit 3. That'll be a nice backup to Nuke if required.
That is fantastic news. Now we've got Nuke, we've got Fire, and we've got Lit. If we could add an Ice spell... maybe level 5, it would be annoying, but great as well. You're going to need more magic charges than just Nuke to get through Temple of Fiends Revisited, so having those backup elements, and in certain situations, they'll actually do more damage. So, great utility available there.
Yeah, and we have Heal 3 and Harm 4 as the white magic level 2 spells.
Now, as for what our runners have access to, they can take the ship and canal to Crescent Lake and see what the sages have to offer. They could purchase the ruby and get over to Sarda, but they'll need, I believe it was 24,000 and change gold to make that purchase. As for other incentive locations, I don't believe they're going to have access to anything right now. So, almost inevitably, one of those has to either be the canoe or the floater, and I would say more likely to have it be the canoe. which does pose a really interesting dilemma if you don't have enough gold to purchase that ruby. It could be an early routing decision that changes the face of this sea dramatically for you.
Ooh, look what Leggy Starscream's doing. Gonna challenge the Marsh Cave. Ooh.
And this is literally what I was talking about, because getting, say, a 65,000 gold chest, or just finding the floater at Matoya, that could easily change everything.
And just like that, Sylverfyre has the lead. I don't know where their ship is, though. Where is their ship over in Sylverfyre's side?
Hanging out at Elfland.
Oh,
Hanging out
okay.
at Sylverfyre thought the same that I did, that it would go up to the dock by the dwarves. He went to Elfland instead, so now I'm thinking it only goes between 3 docks instead of the 4. Or 5, I guess I should say. I thought it could go to any of the 5 inner sea docks, but apparently it only goes to 3.
Yeah, nothing's been found of particular interest over in the Marsh Cave quite yet.
No, but I will say I think that that misdirect on the ship might have been good news, a blessing in disguise, if you will, as took Sylverfyre in the direction to get to Matoya's. We'll see how it goes. There's a lot of game ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, there still can be a possible fetch item that would make Marsh Cave required. We are not quite there in finding that out. Ooh.
That would be big.
14,385 money over on over there, so, well, I mean, that's not a key item, but that's still pretty significant.
Well, it indirectly is. This play is to be able to purchase the ruby, and I think that is going to work out for Leggy. Now, what we find from the ruby is a different question, but Sylverfyre is going to be able to sail to the airship desert and pick it up.
Alright, so before Sylverfyre picks up the airship, they're going to check out what's in Melmond here.
Life and Fast at level 5, both important to know where they are, so a solid check.
Well, I'm going to pick up a little bit of defense for the fighter here.
It can be a long time till you find good armor in the seat, so making a purchase to bridge that gap can be very beneficial throughout the course of a run, especially when you don't actually have a lot of heal potions available to heal up. But the less damage you take, the less you have to heal, and that's time saved over the course of a run.
And Leggy does escape the first part of the Marsh Cave. We'll try the bottom part now.
Well, I don't disagree. Nothing terrible has been seen so far, and you're already here, so whatever play you're going to make, you want to be sure that it has an ability to work out. So the idea of that, even if I didn't get what I came here for, then at least I have the chance to get something that maybe my opponent didn't. So in this case, it would be a Masamune, but say, for example, it was the tail. That is something that could pay dividends down the line.
Yep, absolutely. Now, of course, the risk is Marsh does not have a incentive, is not incentivized this week, but I mean, you never know. But we're about to see some confused old men over on Sylverfyre's side.
Yeah, and make no mistake, this is a ruby play. This was to get the money to purchase that ruby. It's sitting there in Elfland. It was expensive at 24k, but you are very likely to come out of a successful Marsh Cave dive with 24,000 gold or more. There's just too many ways that you could, that the play makes perfect sense to get the ruby. So both runners, their routing decisions have made perfect sense. They just happen to be different and showing wildly different results at the moment.
The nitro powder, also known as the TNT, that was what was found amongst the confused old men. Oh, yeah. When you said that, I was like, okay.
That changes the equation. That is a radical change of the equation. I said this play made sense while there was nothing nasty. Now we have seen something nasty. But so far, those scums.
Yeah, Thunder's scum. Tyrannex, our tracker, said it very succinctly. And Sylverfyre
so
now
what is Sarda holding on to? He's got the cube.
Yep.
So that's what Leggy is going to see as the end result of this play. Because I fully believe what Leggy is going to end up doing is purchasing the ruby, taking it over to Sarda, thinking, okay, that's got to be my canoe or my floater. But how about where this canoe has to be hiding? Because this is not going to be an easy to pick it up location.
Well, let's see. Nope, the bottle for over Sylverfyre. So now they're going to take it off to... I'm sorry, what's that town? The town where you release the bottles. You're going to go to that location. And...
oh, here's the scums, and they are going... Actually, one of the knights actually survived the thunder. That was interesting. But yeah, I think this makes sense on Leggy's side that it's time to give up the dive here. It was a money play more than an item play, and you didn't see anything to change your mind to say it's worth trying to get around those scums right now.
It looks like...
I'm not sure if there's... Go ahead.
Oh, I'm sorry. I was just noting that Sylverfyre did a little amount of grinding, and, well, there's their money. 26,438 of it.
Now, this could be really interesting, and maybe this needing of money takes Leggy to Matoya's. Perhaps not, but it was an option. Was a possibility.
Yet another big pickup. Well, I won't say... No, I'll say big. Opal armor.
It is not to be denied its ability to absorb hits. It is one of the strongest defensive armors in the game. Also believe it gives lightning protection as well. It's not what we commonly think of for elemental resistance. Not when dragon armor is superior. And there's our canoe, which is sitting... in a loose chest. How about that?
Oh, man. Well. So right now, I would say that Sylverfyre has a very solid lead, but the race is by far not over.
No, but it is certainly an advantage at this point. Again, what Leggy is doing makes perfect sense. Going to the incentive location instead of just checking random things. We just happen to know that that floater was sitting loose, and also the canoe was sitting loose.
Yeah, I agree.
And mention that right at the top. That's one of the things you have to be aware of, is in these flags, there's more incentive items than locations. So you can easily have to go hunting, even for required things.
Well, Sylverfyre has now found a cheap pro ring, only 4,000 money, and we're seeing that they just picked up a huge box over at the Zardia Islands. That was a very easy 4 pro rings. That provides 8 defense and death protection, if I'm not mistaken, yes?
Yeah, it's your best absorb for the arms. Actually, I think it's second to the opal bracelet for the whole game, but for most characters, it's the best they can equip. Plus, it gives you the extra protection, so the combination just makes it the best you can get. So good news, bad news about getting the TNT is it's going to take Leggy back in the right direction.
And the crystal found for Sylverfyre, and they'll take a trip back to Matoya's cave, and all this time the experience bonus is rapidly mounting.
The more key items you get, the more experience, so you're quite happy to keep racking them up before you get into a location where you're able to get a bunch of levels from a good experience encounter. Speaking of good experience encounters, these peds are actually quite nice.
Oh yeah, I love those.
Matoya will hand over the loot. So that will be one of the key pieces for being able to complete the seed. The things we know we will need are the oxyale, the rod, the cube, the chime, the loot, and mystic key. Then it becomes a question of what we need to get those things. Because we have to be able to light all 4 orbs, and we have to be able to get through Temple of Fiends.
However, Leggy picking off a lot of peds here, able to advance to level 10, so that definitely is a good thing here.
Sylverfyre putting that money to use. Picked up a lot, and the Fire 3 is also really good for dealing with undead. So this still gives us Ordeals as a potential destination. Remind me, did we not get... We got the Oxio, correct?
Yes, we did get the oxyale, I believe. Yep.
Yeah. So we have access to
Tyrannex has that
Sea
noted in the
Shrine.
tracker.
Yeah. We have access to the Sea Shrine, but going to the waterfall first and the robot there does make perfect sense.
Yeah, absolutely. That's another potential of a key item, and maybe or 2 or 3, depending on what's in the boxes.
Leggy just being 3,000 gold short on that that ruby purchase just feels awful, because if you got that faster, it just would move you in the right direction faster. Actually, this is a really interesting play. I hadn't thought about that, but instead of sailing the ship up, Leggy has walked up the continent to Dwarf Cave, and I think that actually really works out, because the dash speed is ship speed, so you were just able to take a more direct path to get there. If this were at the vanilla game's pace, without that dash speed, it'd be substantially slower to walk it, but I think that worked out very well.
Yeah, it did, but one has to consider that the encounter rate is like 2 or 5 times as much as the walking rate, isn't it? Although I guess you can dodge it with tents.
It's really going to boil down to your save items and your knowledge of the encounter table. Are you able to walk a long distance without the encounters? That will vary greatly from seed to seed.
And I apologize, I did not catch what was in the waterfall cave.
I'm sorry, I had a distraction come up. I don't think Sylverfyre finished it, though.
Oh, okay.
Looks like reset out to get past an encounter of some kind. That's interesting. I wonder what was warranted the noping out. It was obviously not the nightmares, so the mud golems and the mummies would be the other big ones.
Well, I can tell you that what was I saying?
Oh,
Yeah,
those
mummies
Mughalums are
had
hitting hard.
I think it was thunder or something like that.
Scum's had thunder, so that's... Unless that's on the Medusa's grip, we shouldn't be seeing it again. But the Mudgolems hit pretty hard there and killed a character, and right now Sylverfyre doesn't want that, especially not when it comes to losing a warp or exit character. So when in doubt, nuke it from outer space. It's the only way to be sure. So the story of this one so far, both of our runners got the ship roughly the same time. Leggy went in the correct direction for the ship, which was the Elfland dock. Found the ruby for sale for 24,000. Not enough money to afford it. Went to the marsh cave trying to get the gold. Ran into Scums with thunder. That was a roadblock. Sylverfyre went back to Corneria, expecting the ship to be in that direction. It was not. Took advantage of being in that section of the world to walk up to Matoya, where the floater just happened to be sitting in one of the chests there. Was able to take that around to get the airship, and has been blazing a trail across the world since, picking up incentive items left and right. Leggy, still trying to find the way back to Matoya's cave, and that floater, which eludes.
Okay, it's starting to look good for Sylverfyre now. Oh my goodness, wow, that is quite the spike tile here.
That would be a great experience if the armor was better, but this is just way too hard a hitting group, and you can see how much damage they did. You just can't absorb enough hits, and don't have the healing resources to take advantage of that. So just enjoy a nice experience bonus, 2 levels for everybody from that fight. All that to get the tail.
Yeah, which isn't necessarily required, but it's definitely a nice to have for sure. And there is, oh, watch out. Yeah, there we go. Exit spell.
Alright, well this is an interesting play for Leggy, taking advantage of the Axial to now go down to the Sea Shrine. Likely going to go to the Mermaid section first and see what treasures await.
Considering the situation Leggy's in, I like the idea.
I have liked the routing decisions from both runners throughout. They have all made sense. In Leggy's case, it's been going in the direction of the incentive locations because that's where you generally expect the floater, the canoe, to be. It just so happens in this seed, we're sitting in that unincentivized chest, Sylverfyre was able to get to them first. This could easily have gone the other way. If Sylverfyre had walked to the ship first, we could see identical runs going between these runners. Gonna go ahead and turn that tail in for class change.
Yes, and that would result. That's going to result in full magic for the knight as soon as they pick up a few more levels.
You can learn all of the spells now. You just don't have any charges of it until you level up sufficiently, and I believe that won't kick in until level 15.
Right. Good point.
But without a black belt, there is no disadvantage to class changing now. And in fact, there's only an advantage because you can do equipment upgrades immediately as you find them. I will be right back.
Alright, as Sylverfyre picked up the ruby, so yet another 5%. They're getting really close to double experience. And Warp's picked up as well for their Black Mage. While Leggy's continuing to go through the Sea Shrine and continuing to get continuing to fight a lot of really good monsters here. Uh-oh, Tyro's here with Cure. Uh-oh, looks like Team Steak's gonna win. Oh, Leggy finding a pro ring.
I do side on the leave Tyros alone. Though one of the cases I always make is people invest a lot of time in killing the Tyros. They're not that efficient. That took 2 nukes and at least 1 sword hit. It's a lot of time just to get 1 enemy killed. That's not worth that much experience. What a payoff for Leggy finding the Mystic Key!
Yeah, so top of Sea Shrine will be required today.
And is that a play Silver's going to make anytime soon? Maybe when coming back here, but has walked away from the Sea Shrine for now.
Yeah, and, and instead they're killing. They're making more steak over there.
The thing that does make sense about this is you can, when you've got the 2 enemies, the nuke is more efficient, and with all the key items, there's a lot of bonus experience going on here. I just don't find the Tyros to be a particularly efficient encounter. But on Leggy's side, the Mystic Key is probably going to take you back to Canaria, all those incentive chests. Maybe that gets you back to Matoya.
Yeah, possibly. Let's see.
Until that floater is in Leggy's inventory, this is really Silverfyre's seed. This is in control and now making the Ordeals play.
Yep, absolutely. And Ordeals is incentivized, and look what they found, a Soria.
Not the most common enemy. And also a little bit on the tough side as well. Just a little more to kill them than you'd like. So the question is asked, when does Leggy realize that you haven't gone to Matoya? I don't think it's a question of not realizing it. I think it's just not expecting the floater to be sitting in one of those chests. I'd say it's fairly routine in many cases to just leave that location until you have the crystal and a reason to go there.
So for those of you who are new to Final Fantasy Randomizer, well, welcome aboard. Glad you're with us. The pillars, normally you always just take the bottom pillar and you advance, but here the pillars are randomized, so you have to totally guess where they are. And that's been something that's been a part of our races for a long time. However, Sylverfyre has a backup in the warp spell, which allows them to go back to the previous floor, and so they can pick the correct pillar.
The other thing that should really work out for Leggy from this is finally having enough money for that ruby. Which at this point just means bonus experience, but you want all the bonus experience you can get.
Absolutely. And Leggy's taking care of a lot of sharks, which is definitely worth a ton of points. So it's a good thing.
That was another interesting encounter available. Worth mentioning that these trap tiles, their encounters have been shuffled, so you're getting an encounter from somewhere else in the world, and the herb is picked up here at Castle Ordeals.
Along with 3 gray worms. With heat.
They're not great experience by themselves. The 3 of them together is not that bad, but they appear to have pretty high magic defense. They're taking low damage from those nukes.
Yeah, still 2,300 points. That's pretty sizable. Yeah, it looks like Leggy might be hanging out, checking out the bottom floors now.
It's interesting, and I guess it's a chance to get to treasure, certainly. Going to Kraken? Iffy, in my opinion. If I had the Brack spell, I'd be a little more willing. If I had 2 casters of Brack, I'd basically always go try to kill Kraken.
Well, I guess the other thing that could be is that they have let's see, 2 rounds of nuke, right? Oh, never mind. Ghost with thunder.
That's reason enough for me to get out of here. In fact, they're gonna force you out of there. That would be my personal line for leaving. But I believe that also tells us that Thunder is on the Medusa script today, which means not only do we have those really unpleasant encounters, but there's another one out there. Oh, I think you said you saw it on Mummies.
I thought I saw something like that on Mummies.
That would certainly do it. Prince is going to be kind enough to hand over the slab, which, after translating, gives you access to another key identification. Actually, sylverfyre did pick up the key. I missed that before.
No?
Did not? Okay.
No. They didn't get to the top floor of Sea Shrine yet.
Okay. I saw the move for those chests and thought the sylverfyre already had the key, but now you translate the slab and you're thinking perhaps that leads to the key. Also looking for the cube and chime.
So
and rod.
I'm sorry, Leggy's gonna try it again here.
Well, you've only seen the one encounter, so there is that. Perhaps you want to try and get to the treasure, but I just would not feel good as a runner in this position trying to go to Kraken right now. Gonna be mostly gold in the Titan's chests, but a flame shield is not an unwelcome sight.
And sylverfyre's gonna go to the ice cave, and that is incentivized, so I can see where they're coming from here.
Yeah, again, it's a very logical play. With Warp, you have the ability to get to that key item chest even faster. We'll see if that's the play that sylverfyre makes. It's honestly, it's one of those brilliant strategies that somebody had to think of because of Randomizer, because you couldn't do it in vanilla. And then as soon as you see it, you're like, why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, exactly. I love it. Uh-oh, imaged with Fire 2. And they have no life spell, I understand.
Saw life at level 5. I don't think we've seen life 2. And here we go. This is the warp trick. And that's how you check to find the chime.
Oh my, so I believe that gives sylverfyre access to the entire Mirage Tower.
Mirage Tower and Sky with the cube. So that will just be missing the rod and key for go mode. Chat pointing out very likely the rod is in the Fane. With the translated slab, it could be yours.
And I believe sylverfyre did indeed translate that. Whoa! Almost 6 grand from all those Agamas and Red Giants. Wow.
Can be very profitable. Fires, they're kind of more annoying. They tend to be high on the durability on them. Local bracelet, however, that's a pretty high reward.
Yeah, absolutely. That is, I believe it is 34 defense with hardly any penalty to evasion.
Yeah, by far the best armor you're able to equip on mages. Black belts as well.
Let's see what's over in Leggy's room here. Leggy's part of the sea cave here. And Leggy's
Friendly
gonna...
old Sharknado room.
Yeah, noped out of the Catman and is going back. Did not want to fight Kraken. You kind of called it, actually, Trenton.
Yeah, that is a play I understand. It's you've got all this access to treasure, and now you've checked it instead of doubling back for it later. So it would feel awful to walk away from something there that could have helped you elsewhere. So getting through just that much makes a lot of sense, but getting through Kraken would have been an entirely different matter. So a big question for Leggy now is, how long does it take to get back to that floater? We keep repeating it because it is just so true.
Yeah.
The longer it takes to get back to Matoya's, the better that is for Sylverfyre.
Ooh, Sylverfyre might get in trouble here. Just got picked off by 8 arachnids that have paralysis. And is gonna get away.
A lot of that going out. A lot of that going around. Leggy got caught up when the lobsters had sleep.
Yeah, got away though.
Here's first chance to use the Mystic Key.
Oh, Power Glove! Woohoo! Yeah, that's
gonna be a welcome sight indeed. Not always required, but often helpful. And Leggy, finally, is going to be able to purchase that elusive ruby.
Now will they go back and check out the ruby cave then?
The chat raises an interesting question, which is, could Leggy make up this time after getting the floater? And it really is going to depend on how long the floater takes, in my opinion. Silver has gotten through Ice Cave, so it's really a one dungeon advantage if you at this moment, if you want to measure it that way. The key items could be picked up in quick order.
Okay, Sylverfyre now picking up some level 6. Oh, Fade at level 6. Okay. So, I mean, not the best place to have Fade, but, I mean, probably might get a charge or two out of that, so, late.
Yeah, the good thing about having Fade, you probably don't need that many charges, especially with a level 1 nuke. But if it can help you get through a bad encounter or two by just having that extra AoE spell in Topher, you're not going to turn your nose at having a few charges.
Let's see here. Is it time to start going for orbs? It's looking that way. Now here's one thing that both runners are missing. Ribbons.
I thought we picked one up, Sylverfyre and Cardia? I could easily be wrong.
I don't know.
Get a look next time there's an inventory check.
Well, I tell you that first box wasn't very helpful. 5 gold.
Yeah. This is always one of the interesting questions you have to face as a runner is, how far do you walk to get treasures? Do you walk around all of the hairpin turns here, go through a forced encounter to check this chest, or do you just try and save time by moving on? Sylverfyre's made the decision to go ahead and check these, and is going to see the seafood party platter here every time you're on one of the fire trap tiles, because that's what's shuffled to here. That is no ribbons for Sylverfyre, so I was incorrect.
And we have a very happy Titan. It's been fed 2 rubies this seed.
And now Leggy knows that this was not the path. Although, still going to go to Sarda, so you just know that it wasn't in here.
Oh, there's the Bane sword. So, I mean, that can be helpful.
Best sword.
Uh-oh, Silverfire's about to get the bad news. There it is.
Yeah, and that's on the Grey Worm tiles, so that is not the last that will be in here. There's our ribbon number 1.
Yeah, and that's gonna help a ton.
Alright, Leggy's about to get the bad news here. This is not the floater. It's the cube, so what direction does that take you in? Chad asks if the runner kept the flame shield over Opal. I can understand that for elemental resistances. One of the common things people will do is try to do a fire armor ice shield combo, or vice versa. Though the Opal shield to resist lightning would be a welcome sight against the thunder encounters.
So Silverfyre, I believe, is about 4 levels ahead of Leggy. Mostly because they've been able to pick up all those key items.
So this is not the friendliest volcano so far, other than that easy ribbon.
Yeah, but so far that's okay. So far,
Well, nobody's ever finished a seed saying, "If only I didn't have that ribbon."
Yeah, true. But always one ribbon helps out quite a bit as 14,385 money. And the ice armor, which I don't think is going to help anybody right now.
Okay, so doing the opposite, not opposite elements, we're used to fire and ice kind of being that combination, but using the opal armor with the fire shield to still get 2 elemental resistances is the game plan there for Silverfyre. Now this is going to be those thunder shadows on the next trap tile again. So does Silver take this and with full health? Looks like it.
And gets picked off. Oh no.
Sitting through 5 of those is a lot.
Yeah, gonna see if they can get through here, and I think they've got it.
HP.
Wow.
Wow. So being full life paid off there in a big way. Not so much for treasures, but just being able to get through the fight. But it looks like no life, so you've got to just do this on 2 light warriors now.
Yeah, that's going to be difficult, but not impossible. I mean, you never know. You might just run into the Mass Immune Sword and boom.
Well, the Excalibur will be quite nice early on. It's basically a great sword until you get to Tiamat.
Yeah, I was going to say, Excalibur's
Tiamat
probably...
2, that is.
Yeah, oh, I see, yeah. Well, or how about, well, the katana's not going to help here because there are no thieves/ninjas in play, but good for money.
It's lunch money, as Mana would put it.
I'm not seeing Leggy finding anything interesting over in the Earth Cave.
That's interesting. An Earth Cave dive without the rod. So this is probably a case where you're thinking you're in the same position as your opponent and checking the second floor of Earth to possibly get an advantage. Well, this is deeper, actually. I'll say this, Leggy is covering a lot of ground that Silverfyre has not. If nothing else, when you're behind, that's what you'd like to find.
So we have cockatrices and mummies, and the
Oh wow,
and
now
the
there's
one
an
spike.
encounter.
Whoa, 4 zombie dragons. Okay.
So I believe this formation is technically 2 to 4 zombie dragons, but how weak are they? They seem to be high magic defense.
Pardon me for
HP's
laughing
not
there.
terrible, but they're a little annoying to kill.
Yeah. Pardon me for laughing there. There were imps on the other spike tile.
Well, hey, this is script shuffle. Imps could have nuke.
Alright, so it is time to knock out our first Fiend of the day, Carry. And 4 hits
This
for
is no
251.
It's no guarantee the Excalibur is great to have here because it'll pick on elemental weaknesses. Carry didn't hit that hard, but a big skill could make a difference. But we'll never find out.
No, because 4 hits for 408 damage also makes a big difference the other way.
Alright, so Silverfyre has now cleared out 2 dungeons. As far as that much goes over Leggy. Leggy's still in search of that floater. Silverfyre will need the Mystic Key and the Rod. We have no idea where the Rod is at this point, other than it's likely at Lefane.
And still not a big treasure over at the Earth Cave that I've been seeing.
No, just hasn't been much that could pay off particularly well, unfortunately.
Alright, Silverfyre filling back up in houses and the like. Oh, there's those gold bracelets and they're very inexpensive.
Usually what you're going to have for endgame armor for the mages, because there's only the one open bracelet when you're just doing treasure shuffle.
Oh, get out of there. Get over. Oh boy, those images.
Also, vanilla unrunnable wizards, boo. But they're not vulnerable to lightning, but they're non-resistant to lightning, so it's your best bet as far as elemental damage goes.
Oh, yep.
And still checking every treasure chest. I just feel like that's a byproduct of not finding the useful things right now, or you probably wouldn't invest in all of these treasure chests.
Yeah, I can't blame her. Silverfyre confirming that the slab has been translated. Yeah, picking up some life spells here now and cure 3s. Silverfyre is getting pretty close to the end game here. And there's the fast spell, so that will double the hits and therefore double the damage of the fighters effectively.
We're reaching the end of Leggy's potential progress as well. There's only 2 treasure chests left here, this one and then the one after the vampire. Then with no rod, that will be the end of the progress.
And then what would be left after that? Would we then be left with just
key lock.
Matoya's Cave?
No, there's still the other key locked rooms. So there's rooms in Marsh that we've not seen. There is the 3 at Astos Castle, the Dwarf Treasury, Carnaria Treasury, and then finally Matoya.
So it looks like Silverfyre is electing to pay a visit to the Sea Shrine.
makes sense at this point. Maybe not ideal for the second dungeon, and again, no brack, but higher levels now. Lots of nuke charges. That's a good time to try for it. And the Excalibur as well is great for the Fiends the first time around.
And the fast spell as well. Gonna pick up Quad X there. Level 7 Quad X.
Leggy has decided these zombie dragons are worthy of gaining some levels. And doing it in a very smart place, because you will not get a random encounter here. So it's kind of interesting that Sylverfyre did not go check the Lefane item first. As a result, is on the right track to pick up the Mystic Key. And with that, kind of feel like the one edge that Leggy had goes away.
Yeah, absolutely. And wow, those gray sharks have a ton of hit points, over 500. Wow.
Alright, so Leggy is out of the Earth Cave now. And from here, I would guess that Astos Castle is next, just because it's the closest area. The vampire chest was checked. I think it was a copper bracelet.
Alright, so Sylverfyre continuing to check all the treasures, so picking up the key and a whole lot of money and a gold bracelet is gonna be coming up real soon. And there it is.
And there's, yeah. So Sylverfyre one item away from go mode and has a pretty good idea where it is too.
Alright, where does Leggy go now?
I think with that key in hand, you just gotta hit up all the treasuries you've not been to yet. Without the canoe, you can't dock right at Astos. But you can sail to Corneria.
Yep, again, can't blame her. Could be
This
something
is just where
interesting
you
here.
really hope. Where you really hope for Leggy that the next play is going to be sail north to Matoya and get those 3 chests. There's also another 3 that are locked in Temple of Fiends.
But first, 4 imps.
Yeah, they're being a bit annoying today. They just really want to be whacked with swords. Okay, here we go. Leggy is making the right play.
Alright, now, oh boy, I bet she's gonna be very disappointed when she finds the floater here.
Yeah, that one's gonna sting a little bit. Still, you're about 2 dungeons behind. Not really a full third as of yet. But Leggy took the time to do some leveling on those zombie dragons. May not be as efficient as picking up on your routing, but it can potentially take you through these other dungeons a little bit faster.
Sylverfyre is still doing some treasure opening here. Possibly looking for more ribbons?
Well, 1 ribbon, and Excal is great until the last 3, well, not last 3 fights of the game, but the last 3 bosses of the game. That's where it really starts to show deficiencies, and even Vorpal is going to be significantly superior to those last 3 versus Excalibur. I mean, it's certainly better than hitting Chaos with a knife, but Chaos has no elemental weakness for Excalibur to get its bonus against. That's also the case with Tiamat, too.
Dragon's Sword. Well, that's now... Yeah, and I think Leggy's screaming like mad to get over to that floater, to the Ryukan Desert.
So the good news about this is you're going to cover a lot of ground really fast with that airship, and pretty soon you'll start to see the item gap close between these two runners. Right now, it's just 1 orb difference, but also a big difference in having cleared out that ice cave. Leggy's going to be able to do things faster, so really at this point what Leggy needs is something to hold Sylverfyre up. Unfortunately, it just looks like the treasure diving that Leggy did, which had the potential to work out great if it had found stuff like Dragon Armor or Moss Immune. It did net the Power Glove, but so did it for Sylverfyre. But that also means you've got a pretty good idea where things are at this point, so you're going to want to... You know there's an advantage to looking at those chests in Mirage and Sky.
Well, there are those pro rings that we talked about many minutes ago. Gonna obviously pick up 4 of those and get everything ready to go here. And hello, Ghost.
Don't you love it when it's just that one that survives and you run away?
Yeah, happens all the time. I mean, it doesn't matter who the runner is. It doesn't matter if it's me or you, Sylverfyre, whoever. It's always that. It's always that one.
Now this is interesting because this is where Leggy noped out and did not see this top right treasure. But I believe Silver is going to see it. So the bottle leads to the crystal. And that was just a pro ring, so we purchased those, didn't need any.
So time for some more mandatory Catmen.
Now the dive to Kraken begins, and this is interesting. Nothing is given, but Sylverfyre with a lot of nukes and that Excalibur in pretty good shape for this fight.
Yeah, and the fast spell as well.
Yeah. I would say the ideal would be a little bit higher levels and a little bit more HP and durability, etc., but perfectly reasonable levels to come into this fight with.
Well, let's find out right about now.
Basically, the one thing that could mess you up is if Kraken just shoots off a one-shot that kills the fighter. Even then, nuke's probably sufficient to take you through it, but this is looking pretty safe at this point. But Kraken just doesn't have enough base HP to survive much more.
Yep. Oh, 180 cents. Yep, no, not enough. The Kraken is gone. $10,000 for Sylverfyre. Woo!
What you worry about with that Kraken is really just the glass cannon, one that's able to do so much damage to you so fast that you can't survive. But if you can survive and you've got multiple casts of nuke, you're going to win that fight, probably in no more than 4 or 5 nukes.
Yeah, I remember there was an async seed, so for those who are new, the community does a seed where you can just play it on your own time and then you compete that way. But where Kraken did 12 hits for 800 damage toward, I believe that was in Topher, and and that was over on Edgeworth stream, and he was done then. So I guess the point I'm trying to make is that this race is by no means over.
Sylverfyre just picking up the power glove now. And I think this is our first look at what's in Astos' treasury. This, by the way, also home to 2 trap tile encounters you can check out. The 2 angry sharks are interesting because if that's angry sharks and odd eyes, that could actually be a great source of experience.
Whereas bulls and scorpions, not really.
No, that's more of an annoyance, but being that many of them, you're still going to get a decent. Yeah, got 1,000. I might check that one more time just to see if the eyes are there, but so we're probably going to move on. Sylverfyre does need the rod and would prefer a better weapon at this point.
Yeah, and there are a lot of boxes here in this dwarf castle, dwarf cave, excuse me, that we haven't checked quite yet. And right now it's just a bunch of money. 3, 4, 4, a heal potion, 5, 6. So 7 out of the 8 boxes was money.
A lot of money, but don't really need it at this point. We basically have purchased everything other than heal potions, pure potions, that kind of thing.
Well, now they're going to check out Corneria, and that's not going to be much better. Meanwhile, I believe Leggy has picked up the item in the ice cave.
Should have, as long as you're aware of the warp. And again, it's just one of those things you have to learn from seeing somebody do it once. And then once you do, it's just so memorable it sticks out to you. Then it starts to feel bad in seeds where you don't have warp and have to walk the long way. This is where Silver does need to go to Lefane, and that looks to be the play now.
Yep, here we go.
Yeah, and that is that's most likely going to be go mode. I reserve 100% statements because then things go wrong.
Yeah, and I think Sylverfyre just confirmed that he had they had everything translated, and there's the rod. And they're gonna check out level 8 magic here. Oh, there's your life too.
That's one of the reasons I like checking that shop. The other is, if I'm there, I like checking it just because then if I don't see what I think is there, I know it's somewhere else and I can go back and look again. So if you didn't see Life 2, then you could check other shops again and see, okay, was it there and I just didn't see it? Was it early and I just didn't have enough money?
Alright, so it's all official. Sylverfyre can now go for game, finish off the last 2 orbs. And Team Tyro wins! I just saw a reset on a Tyro. Ali Gerbrap asking in chat, Life and Life 2 in the vanilla locations. This is even randomized. Well, of course the answer is yes, but sometimes it makes you wonder.
That Aegis Shield is going to be a welcome sight. It provides some unique defenses, and it is I believe tied for best absorb of a shield in the game. Zeus Gauntlet for Leggy. And on Leggy's side, not only the items still missing, but still no ribbons as of yet. We know there is one available soon. The others seem to be hiding out in Sky Castle, though.
Silverfyre not checking the 10 boxes in the second floor here. Oh, this is going to be a dangerous fight.
That's a very good experience. It's the shame to kind of have to miss out. Oh, this is Rub. Ribbon will... Or no, Ribbon will protect him.
Yeah, no. Got away anyway.
The bad men have Scorch.
And I believe
Not that bad.
Silverfyre...
It's an annoyance at this point.
Yeah, sorry. I believe Silverfyre intentionally killed off their Black Mage.
Probably. I don't know if it's high enough level to have 9 charges of nuke yet. Maybe it only has like 7. But that's pretty sufficient. If the fast and temper charges are sufficient as well, then it's just the ability to get the rest of the party maybe a couple levels before Topher.
And Silverfyre looks to be, I don't know, never mind. I was gonna say, those rock goals, though, didn't have a ton of HP, because those nukes just leveled them.
Ooh, Stinger, that's always one of the most annoying skills, just because you have to sit through it going off on every single party member. Extra menuing time to cure the poison status. Was this warp routing? I was curious about Silverfyre leaving behind all those treasures in the previous floor, but this could be warp routing.
Wow, 3 whiz vamps. Yikes.
One of those cases where it's really good experience, but really not worth it. I look at that, 5,000 experience for everybody basically, but it's just the risk reward is not there. Okay, it wasn't quite what I expected, but using warp to save on the return trip, what I thought perhaps Silverfyre was going to do was warp back to the previous floor, check one of the treasures, then go back through that way, and you're kind of routing 2 floors off the warp spell. There are people who do that, is why I thought that was perhaps going to happen. What is going to happen is pick up with a Moss move.
Yeah, absolutely. While Leggy did pick up her first ribbon.
A very welcome sight every time that happens. Really wonder where those other 2 ribbons are hiding at. Because, courtesy of Leggy, we've seen a lot of extra treasure chests in this seed.
Now, here's the next question. Will Silverfyre take on Warmech? It is hiding somewhere on this floor. Or will they just move on to the Bridge of Destiny?
The extra experience would be nice, but I don't think it's reliable enough with this setup that you're going to do that. Oh, Mancat's thrown out Blizzard.
Ooh, very fortunate that Fade came out when it came out, because, ooh, Blizzard's hurt.
I think the way that Silverfyre has this stacked is you've got the elemental resistances on the Knight and the ribbon on the White Mage, so Blizzard not that scary here. Early game it's just gonna wreck you, but later game, higher levels, more magic defense, and some protection gear, it cuts that down considerably.
Spider asking chat, where was Massa? It was on the 3rd floor of the Sky Tower, to the north? No, to the east.
Yeah, the east side. Alright, we're about to get our first look at Tiamat 1. Fire healing up, not reviving anyone. And again, this should be fine. Wall strat's good idea without the ribbon, just to get that extra protection.
Guess the only thing here is that fast is not available because the black wizard is down for the count.
Yeah, I don't think that's terrible. I think Fade will make up the difference. The Vade, obviously not bad on Tiamat's side. The Absorb maybe a little on the higher side, but you're gonna get there. This Tiamat is not doing anything bad so far. Leggy, by the way, did pick up the Excalibur, so a little bit better armed now. Also, levels in the 20s is good for this progress point in the game. The thing about this... Oh, never mind, that point doesn't make sense, so draw. But we're seeing a long spell list from this Tiamat, which is interesting. Because then you also know these things aren't elsewhere in the world.
Yeah, a lot of defense from Tiamat here. And there it finally goes in with 5,000 experience points. Oof.
We got an orb. So that's 3 out of 4 for Sylverfyre. Now it is a trek through the Earth Cave away from being able to go to Temple of Fiends Revisited. The Sylverfyre has been doing reset strats throughout. The goal is to set up good walks through dungeons by burning a couple of these early encounters on the overworld, resetting so that you're past them and onto a better spot in the encounter table.
And Night Dew observing in chat, stake acquired. Yes, another Tyro falls over on Sylverfyre's side, and there's the 10 money over in the fire volcano.
By the way, this is a good time to mention that there is a lot ahead in this League Season 2 for Final Fantasy Randomizers, so hope you're following the Randomania family of channels. Make sure you're able to check out all the action as they happen.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, in addition to Final Fantasy Randomizer League, we now have like the secondary tournament of the Link to the Past tournament going on. That's called the Challenge Cup, and we're about to start Pokemon Mystery Dungeon, and we also have the Wind Waker Randomizer tournament going on.
Not to mention weeklies for Final Fantasy IV, Dragon Warrior. Events all over the place. If you like your games random, this is the channel's family of channels for you.
Indeed, that's why we call it home for all the randomizers. So, or at least we try to get as many as we can here. Meanwhile, over in Leggy's stream, we have a defeated carry.
If you like Mania, the network will also be happy to provide plenty of Mania as well. I won't promise all the Mania your heart desires, but close. Alright, Sylverfyre making a lot of headway through this dungeon by not having to check all these treasure chests. We see the wizard morale is pretty low as they are running away from just level 23, I think, knight.
Now I'm not 100% sure how running away works. Is it just the first character, or is it the average level of 3 characters, or how does that work?
It is based on the lead character. That's one of the reasons why the level 40 black belt was in such meta back when it was. That's as long as he was in the lead of the party, so much of the encounters were willing to run away from you. So if you have a level 40 in slot 2 and you move a level 7 into the first slot, then you're not going to get the same morale checks.
Okay, Leggy does visit Matoya's cave again and picks up the loot. So she's good to go in that regard.
Still needs a few more items to be in full go mode, but it is something that is good to get. And has cleared a lot of the out-of-the-way locations. With no slab, you couldn't go to Lefane yet, but having already dived Ordeal, not able to finish Earth Cave yet, but that'll be a pretty quick process to finish up. Leggy finally gets the canoe 1 hour 21 minutes in. That's probably a I don't want to call it worst, but let's call it a personal record. That is late in a sea to find a canoe. But the great thing is, with the extended open progression, it's not necessarily required.
Well, I tell you what though, Lich did a great play there in putting a hole to the knight there, but it was not enough to the fade and the nuke, and Lich goes down, and Sylverfyre is ready to take on the Temple of Fiends Revisited.
Probably gonna stock up on heals first, just to make sure everything's to full. I think those levels have been sufficient to get all 4 spell charges you're able to get on the knight. And picking up a ruse is a very wise purchase as well.
And now Leggy's gonna head on off to the waterfall cave here.
I like the routing. Again, you've got this location, and then you've got Kraken, and Kraken should be very killable now. Completely different scenario from when Leggy was here before. So it's a good time to do this. As for what's in Temple of Fiends, we know there's some nasty stuff in here. The seafood platter can put you to sleep. That could be quite the annoyance. You could be deep into this run and have your party not willing to move on you, and that can soak up a lot of time. We also know that all of these Fiends Revisited, Warmech, and Chaos share one pool for all their spells, all their skills, and that's a lot of stuff, so you can run into roadblocks pretty easily when something's firing off nuclear at you in quick order.
Spider MBI asking us in chat about how Spider's favorite part of Final Fantasy Randomizer is the Temple of Fiends Revisited, and was asking if there's any other randomizer that has such a great final level. And maybe my only guess might be Charlotte Castle in Dragon Warrior Randomizer. That'd be my guess off the top of my head.
Yeah, it's interesting. A lot of the randomizers end up nerfing the final dungeon. If anything, it could be argued that the randomizer is more likely to make this final dungeon more difficult for Final Fantasy 1.
Yeah, true. Sylverfyre taking care of, I believe it was Mud Goals, who were substituting for the Phantom there, and a near hero run through the first floor revisited of the temple.
Solo Worm is a great encounter. It's a great source of experience, and with Masa, you should be one-rounding it. But apparently not, so not so good.
Yeah.
A lot of the value in fights really comes down to, can you one-round kill it or not?
Will Sylverfyre be hunting green Medusas here? Yeah, well, let's see.
I think you're going to take what you can find, but you're probably beyond the point of intentionally looking for experience encounters. A well-made point in chat that the another rival for endgame dungeon would be Z1, although it does have the potential to be substantially shorter than a full Temple of Fiends Revisited is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. It can.
But
be
if we're talking potential,
yeah, it can be like 4 rooms long, or you're gonna be going through all 60 of them. So, well, that was a very competitive fight, a lich fight over on Sylverfyre's side.
but it's a great time to be a fan of these games when we have developers who have done such great work for all these games, and especially in the case of Final Fantasy 1, it's hard to thank everyone because there are so many of them. But this all started with Entroper, who wanted to take on this game and just see what you could do, and so many features that we even now take for granted. You know, the dash feature, the buy 10 feature, early developments that were just huge quality of life changes, and that's only possible because there's such great people willing to put in the time to these games.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree, and I definitely rank Final Fantasy as one of the most comprehensive randomizers that's been written so far.
Right, so Leggy working through the Sea Shrine. Sylverfyre is up to Carry, and Carry is one of those places where things can start to get interesting. A lot of attack power. Enough HP more than Lich that it's a little more easy for something to be a roadblock here.
Yeah, so the wall comes up on the knight here, and whoa, 7 hits for 742 damage, and Carry receives their participation ribbon.
A nice run through the water floor.
Yeah, definitely.
And here we go.
That.
Here's where business is about to pick up. We are about to get a first look at Kraken 2, one of the highest strength, highest damage bosses in the game on average. Often hitting even harder than Chaos. Left the fighter in the first position. A lot of runners will actually move the fighter down to protect from that initial hit. But 1,000 damage on the first shot.
Oh, 408 damage from Kraken.
Only 200 damage against the knight, so this is a really good shape. And yeah, it was unlikely that Kraken was living through another monster hit.
And there's the life 2 to bring the Black Wizard back.
Like it didn't even happen. The best healing spell in the game. Sleep from the Worms. That's the second enemy that had that.
Sorcerers in the vanilla in the vanilla, they are one of the most dreaded monsters out there, but in this version, they typically are very peaceful.
Well, I mean, when something kills you anytime it touches you, it's kind of hard for them to not roll easier in a randomizer. Of course, that was actually based on bug, and it's one of the bug fixes that we have. Death Touch ends up being less likely to work because basically it was bugged to guarantee work.
Alright, so here we go with the Tiamat 2 fight, and Fire 2. That's not terrible. 8 hits for 1,000 damage, that's terrible. Wow, Tiamat going down.
Well, we've not seen anything too evil out of any of these fiends yet. Now, if you want to talk potential, 3 nukes, 4 nuclears, there's a lot of damage that we could be looking at.
Yeah,
but
and
will
right now,
Chaos have that? Will it be early in the list? Will we have a chance to recover? Does he have enough HP? So many questions to answer. And sylverfyre is just a few steps away from starting to get them.
yeah, and really, if you're talking about the 3 nukes and 4 nuclears here, that would be exactly what Leggy needs to get back in the race here. But here we go. So Chaos has anywhere between 1 and 4,000 HP, and let's see how this goes.
Also, before we get deep into this, I want to take another moment to thank Tyrannex for being our tracker tonight. So appreciate it. People step up and make that happen. Also, Game Boy, in addition to talking, has been doing our restreaming. Such a necessary thing to make these events as great as they are. And thank you so much for doing that tonight.
Yep, sure thing. And we see Chaos starting off with Cure 4. So they now know that Chaos needs to be finished off in a bit of a hurry.
Yeah, if that's a short spell list, that could cause a lot of problems. You do have Power Gauntlet, though, so you're going to be able to get the damage up pretty high if Chaos doesn't do anything to wreck you bad.
Yeah, and right now, a whole lot of damage has been dealt so far, like something like 1,600 already.
Yeah, this is pretty mild on Chaos's side. And that's enough. sylverfyre is going to be the winner, first place with a time of 132.24.
Yeah, an absolute. I mean, this was just a matter of routing, and in this case, sylverfyre routed better than leggystarscream. But, well, or I should just say, sylverfyre just happened to choose better than leggystarscream, and there's a result. sylverfyre's your winner this evening.
It was such an interesting thing to see early on. When the ship was found, like he went south, found the ship. sylverfyre went north, no ship, but walked up to Matoya, there was the floater. And it was game on from there. Has led to sylverfyre now completing this, while Leggy is still lacking in 2 of the orbs.
Alright, so I think sylverfyre will join us for an interview shortly, I believe.
The Temple of Fiend, Castle Ordeals for Leggy. One of those castle dungeon type places. Again, taking advantage of the warp to navigate these pillars a little bit faster. Of course, you have to remember which one you've been to and which one you haven't. That whole memory thing, it's tricky every time.
Alright, so sylverfyre will join us for an interview in just a second. All right, there it is. Sylverfyre is joining us in chat, in the commentary booth. Good game.
Thank you, thank you.
Yeah, so I won't say this race all came down to one decision, but it was pretty big. You found the floater at about, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, and Leggy found it at about an hour.
Oh, gosh. That's... You know what's funny is half the reason I got it there was because I didn't see the ship, like it didn't render on my screen when I walked to Elfland, so I'm like, maybe it's a dwarf or Carnaria when you kill Astos for the ship. And so I walked back around and it wasn't there, and I was starting to get worried. But then it was like, no, it's back at Elfland. But I got the floater out of the deal. I was likely going to check some of those chests anyway before leaving the Inner Sea, because with ship and canal taking up key item slots, that pushes even more stuff into the it was Ruby actually. There were basically just a lot of things in the key item pool, and it's like I don't want to leave those chests behind before going and hunting the floater in the world at large outside the Inner Sea, when the ship would, like, when you can check those things before leaving the Inner Sea area. So I'd like to think that I would have found it anyway, even if had I not made that particular mistake. And it just kind of ended up a little bit of extra walking, but not even a lot.
Yeah, but you finding that floater when you did, pretty much that pretty much cascaded, because you were able to find all the other key items, and therefore you had a bit of an experience. You had a much bigger experience boost. So, I mean, I would say that was the biggest part of the race.
Fair. Yeah. The name of this flag set is to be thorough. You can't leave chests behind. I think that even just walking from Carnaria to Biki in these particular types of flags, you should check Matoya 100% of the time just for the 3 chests there.
Yeah, because there are just so many hidden, or key items that could be found in a box. There was it's like 4 or 5, wasn't it?
Yep, it's 5, I think.
Yeah, that's
maybe it was 4.
Yeah, I know that Leggy checked out all of Marsh Cave and pretty much got a bunch of money. And checked out Earth Cave. Didn't really find all that much there. And we've only found 1 ribbon in the volcano. So,
Interesting. I would have expected her to have found a ribbon out of some of that sideways checking that I didn't do. Maybe the other ones were in Topher or something.
Yeah, it also could have been in
or like
number of
Sky
spots.
2 or something like that.
Yeah, because I did notice you skipped a whole bunch of boxes there in over there.
Yeah, at that point I was like, I'll check some efficient spots, utilizing the warp spell to maybe either get a second ribbon or a sword upgrade. And then I got the sword upgrade and I'm like, got it. And the thing about checking chests in Sky is you do get a lot of XP while you're doing it. So, either that or I'll hit level 29 and I'll have the 5th hit with the Excalibur.
Chat has a question. Did you forget that you had translated the slab?
I did. I didn't trust myself remembering that I had checked the slab. Or translated my slab. And it's a lot better to go talk to Dr. Une one more time than it is to get Lupa-Lupa'd. So, because I had that moment of self-doubt, and also I needed to stop by Melon because I didn't pick up life previously, I spoke to Dr. Une one more time. I was like, okay, I translated my slab already. We're good.
We had a comment in chat after that. It said, always talk to your doctor.
Now Leggy picks up the rod Went all the way through Earth to the vampire chest before, trying to find the either float or a canoe early on that was just not coming. So we'll be able to make pretty quick.
I think canoe was like in Cardia Isles, right?
Yeah,
so
the airship.
Yeah. That actually does some weird things because it means that some of the normal places that, like, in a lot of canal seeds, you'll go to, like, Ordeals and Ice and Waterfall, and without the canoe, that's not an option. So that really did some odd things to that if you didn't, check the floater, check Matoya's chests. It kind of left you with not really a lot of places to check that are places you're happy checking.
Sylverfyre, Leggy that is, now with 2 of the 4 orbs restored and in position to go to Mirage to work on orb number 3.
Yeah.
Good to see the effort to finish this out.
Yeah, we noted that Sylverfyre, that you picked up Life 2. Was it Life 2, the level 8 spell over in
Life 2 was the level 8 spell, yeah.
Yeah. It turned out that was a really good play.
I probably saved more time casting Life 2 than I spent buying it, but it wasn't amazing given that I already had Life 1. Mostly just kind of saved some healing time in between fights.
Yeah, you did have to use it once during Topher. You had a really nice dive through the sea portion there, though.
Yeah, that was the same hero run as that third one off of Power On. I had cycled all the way back around to it.
Yep. Trin, do you have anything else for Sylverfyre here?
No, I think we covered everything.
All right, you have anything else to add, Sylverfyre?
I'm really going to be rooting for my team. I'm not actually sure when they're doing their race. The rest of my team is doing their races this week. But we've been doing a fair bit of planning in our little group chat for this flag set and discussing some draft strategies in general.
Well, let's see here. I have to say that I don't know who else is in your team. Remind me here. Let's see. Oh, wait a minute. Never.
So it's on my, it was my party name. It's Demarine, myself, Ali Gerbrap, and Sonnyrath.
Oh, Demarine's gonna play Zelna Friday at 5. Let's see.
Ali says in chat he hasn't scheduled yet.
Oh, well, that takes care of that. And hang on a second.
We're hanging on Leggy.
And I think
here in Sky Castle.
Yep.
And Masa was over to the east here, I believe. So it looks like Leggy is not going to get it.
Oh, and Saw already raced. Raced last night, I believe.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, I guess I missed that one in the midst of that quad thief run that was a little crazy. And
there'll be a rematch of that forthcoming. I'm not sure if they've scheduled it yet.
All right, so you will now decrease down to minus 2.2 points, which is what you want. Minus is good here, and Leggy will actually add a quarter of a point. We'll go up to minus 0.6. And I guess that's it. Your thoughts as you head into the home stretch here?
I'm really looking forward to the week 7 flag set, which is, I believe, titled the Tour de Conaria, and isn't it like the same title as the thing? But the idea is that all of the incentivized locations are going to be enabled, and that should make some interesting. I'm really looking forward to that kind of flag set. It creates some interesting dynamics, because rather than this where you have to check all the loose chests, in that you get loose items from some of the key item spots. And so it can be like, do I want to go check ice, or do I want to maybe hope that it's just a junk item in ice? And also how much equipment do I really need? When can I stop checking chests? And I think all of that adds a really interesting dynamic to the racing.
Leggy doing battle now with Tiamat should soon have this air orb restored. Be one away.
Yep. All right, yeah, so I guess that's everything, sylverfyre. Thank you very much for joining us, and good luck to you for the remainder of the league.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care.
Chat saying no Ormac, sad indeed. I think he was patrolling Ormac tonight, so you had to actually go seek him out on the maze floor, if you will. It's not actually a maze, but it felt like one. And also chat asks if Leggy missed Masa, and yes, it was over in the east side in a set of rooms that Leggy did not go to. That said, the levels are good, and we didn't see anything too nasty out of Fiends. I still think Leggy's in fine shape to be able to complete this.
Oh, and Leggy's got A0 heal potions.
So one of the things they've added more recently is the ability, if you will, to overflow on the HP, the heal potions. You can actually go over the 99 max, and when you do, you get a hex value like that. I don't know what the theoretical max is, but you have to already be 99 and then start picking them up from treasure chests in the world without spending them.
Yeah, my guess would be 127 or 255, which is probably impossible to pick up unless the programmers decide that every single box is going to be a heal potion.
I'm not sure how the randomized treasures works out for heal potions right now. It's one of the newer features that's being tested. It's not live in this. In the league here, we're just dealing with shuffled treasures, so it's the same number of heal potions available as in the vanilla game. So add that, whatever that number is, to 99, and that's your theoretical max for a seed. That you're almost never going to see. Alright, so very quick trek through here because Leggy has already checked all of these treasure chests. I'm curious if Leggy will actually go to the big treasure room in Earth Cave just because you've covered so much ground. I'm guessing not, because we didn't see the other Skyforce treasures checked.
Yeah, I agree. Oh, I see. Leggy already took care of the...
yeah, came in here earlier.
The vampire.
Vampire. That was back when looking for either floater or canoe. It's an interesting floor. Leggy's taking a slightly shorter route through here than if you just go to the bottom. It's not that many steps. But if you do it correctly, it is faster. I the wizards were unrunnable here. And interesting to use the heal spells instead of the heal potions. That allows you to preserve the over 100, which is a luxury to have for Temple of Fiends Revisited. But generally speaking, if you need all of 99 heal potions in Temple of Fiends Revisited, 5-6 more is probably not that big a deal.
Yep. Yep, still using the heal spells. Here we go. Ah, geez, just keeps running into a lot of encounters in this section of the RNG table. I just noticed.
Yeah, that definitely happens in these flags. Again, one of the newer features that is available but not enabled here, you can actually dial down the random encounters, and that'll quite often happen when we're doing some of the casual racing that's going on. In other words, there's a lot of fun stuff to the randomizer, and if you haven't checked out the website, hope you will to see all the cool stuff that's available.
Yeah, one of the newest things that is coming out, I've seen the alpha build where the enemy zones are totally randomized. Like the first zone isn't, and then everything else is. So you can just cross the bridge into around Matoya's cave, and then boom, you're running into earths and fires and frost dragons and whatever.
There's even an experiment in progress in the alpha for procedurally generated Earth first and second floors in the waterfall. So it'll be the same size, but you don't know what it's going to be like until you're there.
Oh my! Pull on a dragon warrior on us, huh? Dang.
Our dev team does a lot of fun things. So we have all 4 orbs restored for Leggy, and about to go into Temple of Fiends Revisited. So all these warps vanilla, it's the same path for now through this Temple of Fiends Revisited. I'm not proud of how long it took me to learn the proper route through here. Just saying. Mud golems, rock golems are an interesting encounter to be in the Phantom tile, but again, at this point, you just don't need more experience. 24 is on the higher side for these flags.
Yep, more zombie Ds. Yeah, nope. And I would think she would have the similar hero run through this floor that sylverfyre did. Actually, it's a total hero run.
Yeah, that run actually I might not have done burning the encounter that they did. It does let you get past some early annoying encounters, but at the same time where you really want the gap if you get it is on the water floor. Generally speaking.
Yeah.
Individual results would vary.
Yeah, and sylverfyre definitely had a really long walk through there. And as a matter of fact, I think they got no encounters, or maybe 1 or 2. Do you know with the randomized monster zones if it's consistently very difficult monsters in TOFR? Haven't gotten there yet.
I've not played with that flag, so I've not delved into the meta of it. There is, generally speaking, a bias towards making sure that the end game preserves that end game feel. That's why these 5 monsters, they're all in their same pool with skills and spells, so that you don't have all of that unpleasantness thrown out into the world where you never see it, and you just get a walk in the park through this Temple of Fiends. But Falconic chimes in and says, as of now, there's no preference for Temple of Fiends, so You'd still have the bosses to deal with, however.
Yeah, and that is one of the things I like. You could just randomly run into iron golems, and and I'm like, oh no! I ran into Warmac outside of Elfland, as a matter of fact, and knocked it down at level 12 or whatever because I had all the. Did I knock it down? I don't remember, but it was pretty cool to run into.
Somebody was knocked down.
You're right about that.
And Warmac's not here to tell his side of the story.
Now, Leggy having a little bit more struggle with Carrie because she still has Excalibur.
Excalibur will still be very effective against Carrie. But this was a little bit on the high side HP, so missing that extra damage from Osman is unfortunate. It's really going to be, particularly when we're dealing with Tiamat 2 and Chaos, that the shortfalls are going to be on extreme display. The waters, how many of us wish we knew as kids that they're actually vulnerable to ice?
Yeah, I know. You'd think they would be vulnerable to lit, but nope. Wow, how much experience is that fight? Wow.
There's a lot of experience in Temple of Fiends Revisited. If you don't ever find a trap tile to your liking, it's not a terrible idea to try and pick up those levels in Temple of Fiends. It's just so late in the process that people don't think of it that way necessarily, because you're generally just going with whatever you've got here. But if you find a really painful Temple of Fiends and you need an extra 10 levels or something like that, Temple of Fiends is often going to be the best place to actually get those levels. Alright, so we've got Kraken here, who fortunately was not hitting as hard as Kraken can do. It's actually funny that Kraken is sort of nerfed in the randomizer in a sense. Although the strength can be significantly higher than vanilla, the rate of the increase is actually capped. So whatever your seeds, he can only go get 1/4 of the strength increase.
And
so if he were going to double, he can only get 25% of that. But yeah, that fast is scary.
Well, only 3 hits though.
That's considerably better. A couple of Invis 2s have gone up though, so that's helping with the evade. And there goes Kraken.
Yeah,
so
definitely
that took
the long way,
considerably
but she'll
more
take it.
without the fasted massa. And then here we go. See anything particularly nasty out of this Tiamat, but it's just going to be a lot more annoying to kill. Looks like Leggy did not get temper. But the good news is Power Gauntlet is better. It's just faster when you can stack tempers on as well.
Ooh, 500.
We didn't really need that Black Mage, did we?
No. Oh my gosh, that hurt.
It does, but it's almost deceptive because you're talking about a Black Mage's armor in the first spot, so that's not what Tiamat would do to a knight. You just want to be sure it's not going to one-shot your knight. It does feel bad to be down to only 1 nuke and 1 fade, particularly with Chaos ahead. And Leggy's going to invest that here to find out that that was a really low HP Tiamat.
Well, in case things with Chaos go south, at least she'll know that she'll have that information.
Yeah, the good news is this did not look like a particularly hard Chaos. It was a little scary when we saw that Cure 4 pop out at the beginning. If it had been a bad spell list behind the Cure 4 and Chaos rolled through it, it could have been really nasty. But the HP seemed a little on the low side.
Yeah, I think it was about 27. Was it 20? No. It would be 2,700 or less. So right now she's gonna hope that Chaos casts Cure 4 like first turn. So well, let's find out.
Moved that ribbon over to the knight. I like that. You're kind of all in here. That's the only one who's going to be able to do all the damage to Chaos. And wise use of a ruse here as well. It's really defending up that knight to be able to do the job here.
And starting with a blizzard. Oh, there's Temper.
Okay, so it was level 1 and just did not pick it up with the red mage, unfortunately. And there's nuclears, so didn't see that on Sylverfyre's side.
No, and I don't think a fast was pulled off either.
So that's interesting because we didn't see the ability list pop out before. Now we don't know what's over there. Chaos can basically do 3 things. He can attack, he can use a spell, he can use an ability. And the question becomes, what kind of bias does he have towards any individual action? It looks like his ability bias is pretty low. But if you see a couple of those nuclears come out that maybe wipe out all your support, that'd be really unfortunate.
Oh, Ali Gerbrap in chat corrected me. Yeah, fast was pulled off in the first turn, so that's okay.
$460 damage is very respectable from an Excalibur, so it's the kind of thing you're hoping for. Other than hoping that you're able to get this Chaos down before that spell list rolls around. The 700 damage hit is a great hit.
Yeah, but another nuclear coming out. Oof.
Heal 3 is able to keep up with the nuclears. It's not as scary at all as Nuke is. What you're worried is that if Chaos can keep pulling those out, it can be really unpleasant. But not going to happen. That's going to be a GG for Leggy. Finishes with a time of 2:02:46. Chat, let's see just a wall of GGs. That's well earned on Leggies. Not everything went great on this seed, but great sport to finish out strong and a terrific effort tonight. And while we see if Leggy is going to join us, I'll say, Game Boy, it's been a pleasure to work with you tonight. I jumped in here on short notice. Thank you for having me. Tyrannex, thank you so much for doing our tracking tonight. And thank you, everybody who tuned in, and hope you enjoyed the show tonight.
Absolutely, Trenton. Well done, as always. Good to be working with you. And make sure everybody follow Trenton. He's pretty cool. Etc., etc., etc. And I believe Leggy will be joining us for an interview in just one moment.
You can follow Game Boy too. He's a real nice guy. Does a lot of good stuff, especially for the randomizer community. And Tyrannex is good folks too.
Yeah, follow Tyrannex. He's cool too. Follow everybody. That's what I say.
Pick somebody random in chat. Just follow them. You don't even have to know what they do. Just follow them.
Well, I mean, that would be the point of Randomania, is that you... Yeah.
Yeah. How random is it if you don't follow somebody? So again, there's a lot of action ahead this week, and for the rest of the Randomizer League. I know there's a couple of races tomorrow. I'm doing commentary for one of them, I think at 10. Pulling up the schedule now. So tomorrow we've got, looks like 7:30. 2 of them at 9 o'clock, and 1 at 11 o'clock. So 3 races at least tomorrow. Lots of fun ahead.
Yeah, absolutely, and then 2 more weeks after that. I mean, there'll be 8 more races to be shown. Had quite a bit of interest in this league, so this is really nice to see. How many signed up ultimately? It was in the 40s, wasn't it?
That or higher. I'm not sure the exact number.
Oh yeah, actually it was 58. So yeah. Sorry about that. We're still trying to get Leggy into chat into an interview here.
Hello.
Hi, Leggy. How you doing?
Kicking myself a little bit for not checking Matoya.
Chat into an interview here.
But other than that, I felt pretty good.
Yeah, I thought your routing made a lot of sense. You seemed to beeline for the incentive locations that you were able to get to, looking for that floater or canoe, and lo and behold, this time it just wasn't that way.
Yeah, when I saw the ruby in Elfland, I was getting excited for a ruby lock floater. And then sorry.
No, go ahead.
And then when I did the early sea dive and I found the key, I was getting excited for a key locked floater. And it just, sometimes, you make these gambles.
Yeah, even the play to Marsh Cave made reasonable sense at the time, but then lo and behold, the Thunder Scums.
Yeah. Felt like everything had Thunder this seed.
I think it was on the Medusa script this seed, actually.
I mean, I don't know how many copies of it are in the pool, but I did see it at least 3 times.
Yeah, that would be the Medusa script. So, anything else about this one particularly stand out to you?
Nothing that really springs to mind. Like, outside of not finding the floater, I felt like I had a pretty solid run.
Yeah, you covered a lot of ground. You made a lot of plays that made sense at the time, just unfortunately with the incomplete information.
Mm-hmm.
Game Boy, anything?
Not off the top of my head. I mean, you pretty much completed. We pretty much covered it all. But I did ask Sylverfyre this, and I'll ask you this as well. You do have 2 more races left. What are you looking forward to as we're getting close to the end here?
Oh gosh, if I recall correctly, there's some fun stuff coming up in the next couple of flag sets for the week 6 and week 7. I'm definitely looking forward to the Forced War mech. All hail friend mech.
Oh yeah, that's right. War mech's going to start becoming required, I think, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for the next 2 weeks, all of these after this stage is done, we're always going to have to fight a mech.
Hooray!